It's horse beef. What's going on? And I didn't expect to make another video on this topic, right, with Roger Jackson. Obviously, it's a very hot topic right now, and people are trying to milk this situation. But I was overtaken with this very passionate feeling to speak on it once again after not reading just Sean Strickland's response list, which you can see on your screen right now, not just Chael Sonnen's doubling down of his horrible take on the situation, but Mark Henry's take on the situation was truly the most mind-blowing of them all. We'll get into that one last. First of all, let's talk about Sean Strickland here. Let's get through his tweet right now. He says, Jackson's kids shouldn't go to jail. Prison should always be the last resort. I was arrested at 19 for 2 felony GBIs. I'm not sure what that means. If you guys would like to inform me in the comment section, feel free to do that. I think that may also be a bit of a typo from Sean Strickland there. I would have spent 5-6 years in prison if the DA had its way. After 6 years in a cell, coming out with nothing, being indoctrinated with gangs and violence, I guaranteed I would have killed someone. There was one guy telling me about how he picked up a murder charge, and I remember being impressed by him. That would have been my future. Instead, I pled and took 100 days of jail or work release, a ton of anger management, and a decent amount of victim restitution after a miserable 2 years of court. Luckily, a lawyer took my case for free because I didn't have a dollar to my name. Bottom line is, it's not about the person in prison, it's about who they become when they're out of prison, and I believe if I wasn't offered that deal, I would be dead today, and more than likely would have resulted in someone else's death as well. My 2 cents, rehabilitation over prison, always. Now, I don't think that Sean Strickland is being malicious here. I think he means well with what he's trying to say here. He's trying to apply his own personal experience with the prison system, I suppose. But you can't use like hypothetical. If I believe that I would have ended up killing somebody if I had gone to prison, you can't use that as a justification for why Raja shouldn't face justice for what he did, right? So where's the justice for the victim? This entire tweet is about Raja and how he might be affected by prison. But where's the mention of Psycho Stu? Right? The man on the receiving end of this rageful onslaught from Raja. There's no mention of him here. It's all about how it would potentially affect Raja. But in the case of Raja here, it's not just Raja showing violent tendencies. No, he full-on attempted to take someone's life. That's the only way this can be interpreted. He slams the man in his head, follows up with multiple shots. After the referee comes in and tries to pull him off, it took multiple people to get him away from Psycho Stu. That paints a picture of a person who was trying to kill somebody on camera for an audience of people with MMA training. That is somebody who is a danger to society, as I said in my last video. Now, I get what Sean Strickland's trying to do here, but you're just way off base. You're just way off base. And it's just weird how these conservatives, right? We're all about justice, right? Conservatives are always about justice, but then like the second that you have the opportunity to fight for justice, you fold. And we're talking about rehabilitation now all of a sudden. Get fucked. I know what Sean Strickland's trying to do here. I get it. He means well, I think, but he's just way off base, and it's just another brain dead take, in my opinion, about the situation.
And when you have a good worker, and let's say that Raja is a natural, the absolute best thing that he could do to get in character is to sell it to you. The problem is you begin to sell it to yourself, and that's the accident.
That's the accident, right? I guess Raja got too into character. He's a fucking method actor, apparently. According to Chael Sonnen, I guess like Chael Sonnen is putting him on this pedestal and treating him as if he's some actor and using this hypothetical situation that he's just some natural, gifted actor. Like, what are we doing here, man? And that part at the end of that clip right there perfectly applies to Chael Sonnen with his contrarianism. The man has been spewing contrarian nonsense for so many years that he started to believe it himself. And that led to him doubling down on this horrible take. After his audience told him that he was wrong, the man could not accept fault. He could not accept that his take was off base. He had to double down because he's been a contrarian for so long that he now believes the shit that he spews out of his fucking mouth. But it's no accident. And what Raja did is not an accident and was not an accident.
You don't have the ability to decide when you're a smart mark or you're just a mark. And it's why there hasn't been an arrest. And it's why Joel yelled at me, and it's why you guys left me nasty comments. But the only one that can decide that is Psycho Stu. That's the way this will work. If they go in and they cuff up Raja over a piece of entertainment that they saw, and the public gets informed that it was such good entertainment, even the police were duped.
Does anybody find it incredibly disgusting how he's still trying to make it about being a mark or a smart mark and using all these wrestling terminology? Dude, somebody's in the fucking hospital in critical care because of what Raja did to them. Quite frankly, it doesn't matter who's the mark and who's the smart mark in this scenario. What matters is that what Raja did was way, way, way over the line and should result in jail time. And Chael Sonnen does everything in his power. Like this may actually be like Chael Sonnen is a very good speaker. I will give him credit for that. He's very articulate. He's a very articulate fool, which is a comment that I got in my last video, which I want to steal from you. It's a very good way to put it, right? A very easy way, simple way to put it, but it makes a lot of sense. The dude is an articulate fool. And I know I'm missing a lot of context with these clips, right? I'm not showing you the entirety of his video, so you're missing some context. So I would encourage you to go watch the entirety of his video if you can actually stomach some of this shit that he has to say. But he essentially dances around condemning what the fuck Raja did the entire time. He uses mental gymnastics and tries to spin it as a piece of entertainment, as he keeps calling it. I mean, if that's what you'd like to refer to it as, then you might be the kind of guy to go surfing on fucking Live Leak or some shit if you consider that to be a piece of entertainment. Plus, like, Chael Sonnen is an MMA fighter. He has a clear understanding of what real violence looks like. And that was real violence. And all this shit about why arrests haven't been made, I don't give a fuck about why arrests haven't been made, quite frankly, Chael Sonnen. I couldn't give less of a fuck because the system is flawed. That's a reason to give Raja the benefit of the doubt for whatever reason because he hasn't been arrested. We live in a day and age where people fucking break into homes and are released the next day. I'm supposed to trust the system? Right? I'm supposed to base my opinion on what Raja did clearly on video with all of the events leading up to it as well as the preceding events, right? We have the entire course of events here. Why are we acting like we don't have full context for the entire situation? We do. It was live streamed. It's recorded. And that's all I have to say about Chael Sonnen's take here. Let's get into Mark Henry, which I have to say is probably the most damning of all of it.
I don't know the full story, but I do know what I saw. And it looked like he wasn't smart to what was going on. And the dude that was messing with him bit off more than he can chew. And, you got to be careful, one, who you mess with. And two, what kind of example are you as a veteran for inciting a ride with a kid?
Worried about Psycho Stu.
Psycho Stu?
What, you don't know me?
Hell no. Yeah.
Hey, I think that's a little...
Oh, you don't.
What kind of example are you setting as a veteran inciting a riot with a kid? So there's so much wrong with that right there. Yes, he is a veteran, right? But bringing up the fact that he's a veteran, right? Like, what does that mean? He can't hit somebody with a can filled with air to try and cut a promo with them, thinking that they're a worker. He can't do that, right? Which Raja may have not been privy to at the time, but he became privy to later on, right? After he shook hands and made up with the guy, right? But inciting a riot. Is that what a riot looks like? Because I've seen riots, right? I've definitely seen riots over the last 5 years, and that sure as fuck isn't what a riot looks like. Inciting a riot over a kid, right? But calling him a kid when he's a 25-year-old man is minimizing language. It is. It's minimizing language. He's a 25-year-old man. At the age of 25, I believe your frontal lobe, your brain is fully developed. So there's no excuses here. And you sure as hell can't call him a kid.
It's a bad look for the company that he performed at, and it's a bad look for him, and it's a worse look for the guy that got beat up, because now we know you can't fight. And back in the old days, if you lost a fight, you lost your job.
I got a hard time with this part right here. In fact, this is like the whole reason why I even made the video to begin with. I didn't know if Sean Strickland or Chael Sonnen's takes were enough, but this part right here was fucking enough for me to make a whole video on. You prove that you can't fight. Is that what Stu was expecting in there? Was he expecting a fight in that moment? No, he wasn't, right? And I believe that this bald individual from this particular podcast episode, where Doug, who is the guy with the pink braids who actually did go in and was ultimately the guy who honestly saved Stu's life, because if Raja got a few more shots in, we could be looking at a different scenario, right? We could be looking at Psycho Stu in even worse condition and potentially fatal condition. You know what I mean? But I believe that this dude with the bald head, I don't know why I keep calling him bald and pointing out the fact that he's bald. He says it best, so I'd like you guys to hear him out.
When you're a fighter and you have a fighting background like me, you're taught to keep your hands up. You're taught to protect yourself at all times. It is a rule of fighting. In wrestling, you are not allowed to do that. You have to present your chin. You have to present your neck. You have to present your entire body. And it's always a fear in the back of your head. Is this person going to hurt me? Whether they're not knowledgeable enough, whether they're not experienced enough, should never be a thought in anyone's mind. Was this person sent here to hurt me when I am put in a position where I am literally required to not defend myself because we are putting on a show? This is entertainment. They broke every single fucking rule when they sent that person, when they allowed that person who is a known volatile loose cannon of an individual into that ring. They knew exactly what the fuck they were doing, and everybody responsible needs to face the consequences.
So that paints an even greater picture that Psycho Stu was not ready for a fight. And it was clear from the moment that Raja got in the ring and lifted him up in the air. He wasn't trying to resist. He was clearly in character, ready to take a fall. And he wasn't ready to defend his fucking life, right? So Mark Henry, I gotta say, all the years that you spent in the WWE, thank you. I guess you did entertain me greatly. You're the world's strongest man and all this shit. But god damn, those years taking hits to the head has done you no favors. Because this is the most brain-dead take I have heard on this situation. And that is truly a hard feat to achieve. Because retarded takes are going around like hotcakes right now. And you have the dumbest of them all. So just to reiterate, according to Mark Henry, in that moment, because Psycho Stu, right, unbeknownst to him, was going to have an attempt in his life, proved that he couldn't fight. When he was essentially sucker punched. That's essentially what that was. That slam, he wasn't expecting to be slammed like that. You could tell he was probably bracing himself for a wrestling slam. Raja put his full body weight into it and slammed him on his head. He was already out from that one. Psycho Stu was not ready for a fight. And you're sure as hell not ready for a fight when you're unconscious, eating 20 to 30 unanswered shots. Wow, Mark Henry. Wow. You have won the Retard Olympics today. Truly a gold medal winning performance from Mark Henry. Congratulations, man. But before I let you guys off here, I want to give another shout out to the man, Doug Mallow, I believe his name is. Right, I recommend going and watching this entire interview with him. It was also great listening to some people involved in the wrestling world who aren't just worried about appearances and that's all, and playing up your character, and actually focused on the humanity side of it, right? More than fucking Chael Sonnen can say for himself, more than Mark Henry can say for himself. So shout out to these guys. Watch the interview, please. Doug Mallow, you're a fucking hero. You're the man. And this dude with the bald head, with the tattooed bald head, you're also a champ, dude. You're a champ. The way you laid that out, man. Very articulate guy. The way that he laid all of it out, I thought was perfectly said, and I couldn't have said it better myself. So I thought it was better that you listen to his words on it. They also did post a link to a GoFundMe page, which I will also link in the description here, which is, of course, for Psycho Stu. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next one.